and he doesn't follow those conditions, and if he damage the machine, am I supposed to maintain his machine? So what happens normally for this kind of machines, people put various sensors there, and from their sensors they basically take the various data from the machine, and there is a person who is continuously monitoring those data, and the moment he sees that something has gone wrong, he immediately call that customer and ask him to take the corrective actions so that the machine life is maintained. Okay, so
Mr. Tanuj
here
Gupta
today
is an
there
expert
is
for
a
today's
person involved
discussion.
to give an instruction
Tanuj,
that
Thank you.
Tanuj,
based on
Yeah. Thank you,
the
Prashant,
data
yeah,
which
sir.
has
you can
come
begin
from
with the
the
session, sir.
machine, you take a
Okay.
corrective actions.
So, good afternoon,
You
all.
can have an
So, I'll
artificial
be taking
intelligence
a small
embedded
session for the
with this
CNG and
particular
LPG
system
technology.
that based
Okay.
on the data which is
So,
coming,
let me start with the
artificial
introduction to the
intelligence
CNG and
based on
LPG. Am
certain
I audible
blueprint
to all?
information, they are able to take the corrective actions on the
Prashant, sir, am
machine.
I
So
audible?
you can have that. You can
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
And
do a
you are,
research-based project. You can do
yes, sir,
that.
you are
So,
In
audible.
fact,
okay.
you need
So,
not do any
basically,
fictitious
CNG
project.
and
There are a lot of
LPG is
industry
nothing
who
but
are
it
ready
is
to
the
do project
natural
on this
gas
kind of.
which is comprising of the methane and
So
is having
moment you
some
say
various
that I'm
contents.
capable,
Let me just and okay. Okay, so natural gas, it is mainly a natural gas that is CH4,
any
and
other
if it is
question?
pressurized to a 200 bar and it is stored, it is known as CNG. So generally, this methane gas we get and we compress it to 200 bar, around 200 bar,
Any other
and then
question?
we call it as a compressed natural gas,
Am I
that is
audible?
CNG. Okay, and auto LPG, that is auto means like we use earlier we used to use it in the autos or three wheelers, and it is a mixture of propane and butane. Okay, and the domestic LPG which we use as an IGL as a gas in our homes, it is 100% butane. Okay, so what are the benefits of the CNG and LPG? So basically, it is environmental friendly. So it reduces the air pollution. It is renewable in nature, and it is obtained from the diverse sources. Okay, it is economically cheaper, and it is a safer burning fuel, and it is having a higher octane rating. Okay, so properties
I have
of
a
the
time
CNG
till what?
will say like CH4 molecular weight is 16, air fuel ratio is 17.2. So, and octane number is 120. Okay, so higher the octane number, the better burning or combustion you will get during the engine combustion. Okay, and similarly, stoichiometric ratio for the air fuel ratio is 17.2, whereas for the petrol engines we have it for 14.7. So it is having a better air fuel ratio. That means that more air is required, more mass or moles of the air are required while burning the CNG. So that will leave that will give you less pollution in the air. Okay, and auto ignition temperature is in a safe zone, that is a 540 degrees Celsius. Okay, and
Yes, you can have
flammability
a
limit is
project.
5 to 15, and the calorific value is very good. It is 12,000 kilojoule per liter, whereas the temperature for the
You
LNG
can
is
have a
minus
research-based
162
project on
degrees
augmented
Celsius.
and virtual
So
reality.
recently there has
Good
been a
idea.
development
There are a
that
lot of
one of the company
options. There
Advantage
are a
Group
lot of things
Systems,
which
it
are
has
unexplored by
also
people.
started making
You can
the
explore those
engines
options.
and development in the LNG. So basically, Adani Group, you might all be knowing that Mundra Port, at there we have developed one engine which is running on the LNG, and the tank itself is the unique thing, the tank where we store the LNG, because it costs around 8 to 9 lakh rupees. Okay, and the main reason why the cost of that tank is that much is because it is heat resistive. So when you store it, the LNG at minus 165 degrees Celsius, so it will remain like that. So due to the heat resistance, that temperature, that tank is that much costly. Okay, and one more property of the CNG is that it burns with a visible flame. So most of the gases, if you see like hydrogen and all, they do not have a
Any other
visible flame. You
question?
will not see the flame for the hydrogen burning. But whereas CNG is a burning visible flame, so it is
Hello.
easy to detect where the leakage is, and we can rectify it. Okay. And now moving to the properties of LPG. So this is the particular molecular formula C3H8 plus C4H10. Okay,
Abhishek?
molecular weight is 44, stoichiometric ratio is 15.7, octane number is this much, and flammability limits is this. But the LPG is having a better calorific value as compared to the CNG. Okay, and density is this much, and this also burns with a visible flame. Okay, now fuel storage ratio of CNG. So 1:5. What does 1:5 means? So one tank of diesel, the capacity it can run, we need five CNG cylinders at 200 MPa. So that was earlier, like when I made this presentation, that was a earlier scenario. In today's case, it has
अरे ये
been
लेक्चर
improved,
कंटिन्यू है,
like
बंद हो गया
not
क्या
fuel
है?
storage ratio, but we can store like not into 1:5, but now it is 1:3. Today's case. Also, one of the benefit is that now the cylinders which were earlier these cylinders which were earlier made of the iron and all, now the development has been done into the fiber fiber cylinders. Okay, and now one of the company agility, I think agility company says that in one fill 100% fill you can run on CNG for 1500 kilometers. So that is a huge
Any?
development into CNG that has occurred in last
Okay.
recent years of 1.5 years. Just before the lockdown I
Nice. Okay.
got
No
this
problem.
news.
No problem. No
Okay,
problem.
now, as
So I
compared to
think
the fuel storage
if there
ratio
is
of
no
LPG,
questions,
you need only 10
anybody
bar
who is interested
LPG
in
because
knowing
the
more about
calorific
the
value, as I
automotive,
told you, is
or
better than
if
CNG.
they want to
So that's
learn,
the
or
difference
if
over
they are
here.
doing
You
some
can
research
easily
project, and
see.
if you need any help,
Okay.
you
So
can always
worldwide, this is the
talk to
CNG
me.
vehicles we
Our
have. So if
institute
in
is
India,
at
you see, this is a very
Gandhibad
old
Garden
data,
Hill,
like
Ministry of Mobility Services,
2010 data I
and it is
have.
available there.
Okay. So this
If you
India, if
need
you
any help,
see, even at
please
that
let me know.
time,
I
2
will help
lakh
you.
4,000
And with this, I end this
vehicles
program.
were there.
Thank you very much.
And if you compare with any other country, there is only Brazil, which you will see, which is having Brazil and Argentina are having the more number of CNG vehicles. But I believe if in today's data we see, we are almost matching or leading the Brazil and Argentina also. Okay. So CNG. So generally we have a scenario that in India only we have the CNG vehicles, but in outer world we do not have that. But that's not true. So we have the Iveco company as
Tanu
well.
sir,
Yeah.
sir, your screen is visible, but your slides are not changing actually.
Seriously? Just a moment.
Yes.
So which slide can you see right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Now it is visible. The eighth number slide is visible now.
No, which you were over here only.
Yeah.
Can you see
Now it is
now?
visible, but it was not changing earlier.
Now is it changing?
No, it's not changing actually.
Okay, let me just explain it from here only then. Probably some issue. I don't know why.
Yeah.
In present in presentation,
The
just
recording
let
has
me just
stopped.
try one more time. Is it changing now?
So now this screen is not visible.
Can you? Is it changing now?
Yeah. Now it. Yeah. Yes, yes. Now it is visible and changing.
Okay. So you were seeing only this page only from this time. Shall I repeat?
Just go in a shorter detail only.
Okay. Okay. So let me restart then. Sorry to. Okay. So what I was telling was introduction to CNG and LPG. So in the CNG is basically methane, which is stored at 200 bar. Okay, and LPG is a mixture of propane and butane, and the domestic LPG is 100% butane. Okay, so the benefits of CNG and LPG are that they are environmentally good, less air pollution, renewable in nature. Okay, and we have the many sources where we can obtain the CNG and LPG. Economically, it is much cheaper as compared to the diesel and petrol, and it is having a safer burning. It is a safer burning fuel because it is. I'll tell you why. Okay, and it is having a higher octane rating. So safer burning fuel is because it burns with a visible flame. Okay, and this is the formula. These are the properties. If you could see over here, the lower calorific value, it is 12,000 kilojoule. Okay, and in the LPG, if you see, the calorific value is higher. Okay, so the reason, if calorific value is higher, you can see over here that the fuel storage ratio 1:5 we have to store for the CNG, like 5 cylinders. And here I was telling that instead of these cylinders, now one of the company, Agility, has improved and made it to like 1500 kilometers. You can go in one fill. Okay, because they have made these cylinders of the fiber and more storage capacity. Okay, then similarly for the LPG, you can see that only 1:2. That is means 2 cylinders only you will need for the storage of these LPG. Reason is that calorific value of LPG is much higher as compared to the CNG, almost double. So you can see only 2 cylinders will work in case of one diesel, in respect of one diesel, or 5 CNG cylinders. Okay. So here I'm telling that India. This is a old data, like 2010 or 2012 data, wherein India is the third leading country up after Brazil and Argentina. But probably by today, the way it is increasing, I believe it is somewhat near to Brazil and Argentina are already leading in the CNG market. So now I was here, where I was telling that we think that only the Indian Indian manufacturers are going ahead for the CNG, but that's not the case. It started with the Iveco company. Then Volvo also is using the CNG, and Tata Motors Limited, and now Ashok Leyland, and many other Swaraj, Mazda, Force Motors. Everybody is using the CNG in their commercial vehicles. This is just an example of the LPG car, wherein you can see the bonnet and the boot space and how it is getting filled. And this is the cylinder. That you can skip. I think this is pipeline infrastructure, not needed. Supply mechanism also not needed. Okay. So let me open another presentation where I'll tell you about the standards. Okay. So why we needed CNG and LPG? I believe you people already know that Supreme Court has led to the implementation of CNG very old in 2005 because of the pollution. Okay, and they calculated that 70% of the pollution is being caused by the automobiles. Okay, so that is why the CNG and LPG came into picture at that time, because electrical vehicle was not an option. So there was no technology developed for the electrical vehicle that time. So CNG was the best option, and LPG was the best option to move ahead. Okay, and then how CNG is reducing the pollutants in Delhi. So you can see that when CNG started in January 2002, you can see the respiratory particulate matter decreasing to 200 microgram per cubic meter. Okay, from over here 900 to 200, you can see almost 700 reduction. Then similarly, NO2 is almost constant because the NOx does not get reduced with the CNG much, and the SO2 also not but the main factor was the respiratory particulate matter. The reason why this is a huge thing is because this RSPM is causing the cancerogenic particles which can lead to your cancer. Okay, so reduction for this was a good step to from the government as taking the CNG into the picture. Okay, now this is somewhat old data, like last year data, wherein CNG was cost was around 45 to 50 per liter, and LPG was also same, and gasoline cost was 70 and diesel was 62. Okay, so based on this, you see the difference between this and this percentage wise will always remain same. However, if it is now 100, it will be around 70. So that percentage is always there with respect to the CNG, gasoline, and diesel. Okay, so now these are the some of the standards made by the ARAI. So ARAI is the Automotive Research Association of India, which leads to your all the regulations or the standards in the of the automobile vehicle. So suppose your car is, you are saying any company or any OEM is stating that okay, 19 kilometer per hour is my economy. So that is being tested and regulated by ARAI. Similarly, the emission norms, like now you have the BS6, are also regulated by the ARAI. So each engine has to go and certify themselves on a particular power and torque which they recommend on their brochure, and has to be confirmed by the ARI. Then only they are certified and are able to sell in the market. Okay. So once CNG and LPG was coming into the picture, so this ARI regulatory made up some standards for the formulation, testing, okay, fuel kit testing also, and CNG LPG performance. During that time it was BS3 when CNG launched, and but now they have completed till BS6, and also now we are in discussion with the ARI for the BS7 norms, which will be implemented by 2027. Okay, and these are some of the international standards which were taken as a reference by the ARI during the Indian regulatory norms. Okay, and these are the different certifications for the CNG and LPG emissions. So GSR 99E. Okay, so these are for the different countries and how they have modulated from 2000 to 2010 in BS4, now till BS6 also. Okay, so now let's discuss about the pollutions or the emissions in the CNG and LPG vehicles. Okay, so starting with the two-wheelers. So previously norms were 4.5 percentage of CO. CO means carbon monoxide. Okay, so carbon monoxide is also a very dangerous gas, I would say, because first of all it is odorless. Okay, and second of all, it creates breathing difficulty. So if you guys know that there is a small kind of a pillow which we get or used to get in the Indian railways, where you can fill from your mouth that pillow as an air pillow, right? So if that pillow itself, if you inhale, if somebody inhales, is made of CO, and if he inhales, the death is on the spot. So you can understand that how much dangerous this gas is. Okay, so earlier norms for CO percentage has not reduced for BS3. This is for BS3 when CNG was launched, and 4.5, 4.5. However, we have made the norms came for the hydrocarbon. So hydrocarbon, why hydrocarbon is there? So if you see the chemical formula of the CNG or LPG, everybody has a CH4 or carbon organic compounds. So due to the lack of air or less time or less temperature in the scenario when they are burned, so most of the fuel is burned, but some fuel which is left is made into the hydrocarbons, and that hydrocarbon is released into the air. That will cause your many problems, like greenhouse is also one of the issue of the HC along with the CO2. Okay, so these norms were then stated for the two-wheelers, three-wheelers, CNG buses, and many other things. So now this is for the standard. Let me show you about the some kit info where you will understand how it has been done. So if you all remember that in earlier stages when CNG or LPG was invented, not invented, was implemented into the India. So there, during that time, many cars, many commercial vehicles were retrofitted into the CNG, right? So people used to go to a local mechanic and then retrofit it. But however, now down the line, that retrofitment has been going obsolete. The reason is the because dedicate we do not those engines where we retrofit the CNG was working on the petrol engines. Okay, so of course CNG and LPG, CNG and petrol are almost same. Okay, from the values of the chemical values and also the engine point of view, but not dedicatedly. It is for the CNGs. Of course, there is some differences also. So now if you see the performance of the CNG car, which is totally dedicated to CNG, so the engine, the valves, and the uh, intake and the, what do we say that, injector of the CNG, everything is designed for the CNG, and development is done on the CNG. So that CNG vehicle and the current petrol vehicle, which is retrofitted, has a huge difference. So, people earlier used to claim that they do not have the good power, they are not getting the good pickup as compared to the petrol. But yes, it is economical, so we have moved to the petrol. We have moved to the CNG. But however, this is not the case now. So if we buy or purchase any LPG vehicle, that is like Wagoner, or if you purchase any CNG dedicated CNG vehicle, similarly for Maruti which is coming, so that vehicle is having a good performance, power, torque, okay, pickup, whatever you say that, and economy also. And there is a very less huge risk of any leakage. Okay, the one of the main problem with the CNG and LPG is leakage. Okay, so once it started getting leak, so all your economy will go to waste. Okay, so and finding that leakage is also difficult because the pipeline in which it travels is just around, if you say in diameter, is around 2 mm. No, not sorry, 2 centimeter, 20 mm diameter at max. Those pipelines where the fuel is or the CNG is getting not transferred from the cylinder to the engine. That diameter of the pipe is just 2 centimeter or 20 mm, you can say. Okay. So now starting with the introduction. So if you see that CNG and LPG kit consists of the CNG fuel delivery system, which is fitted on the engine. So what are the different components that are required apart from the uh, petrol engine? So pressure regulator. Why pressure regulator is required is because pressure has to be reduced from 200 bar to the 5 bar. So of course the storage of the CNG is done at 200 bar, but when it is getting delivered to the engine, that is in the intake manifold, so at that time you do not need 200 bar of the pressure. So the pressure during that time is just 5 bar or 10 bar, depending upon the whether the intake is having a turbocharged one or not. So that is also came into recently turbocharger. Earlier, the turbocharger for the CNG was not there. A reason was that the exhaust temperature of CNG was too high. So for petrol, for diesel, the exhaust temperature is around 400 degrees Celsius, whereas for the gasoline, the temperature is around 550 degrees Celsius, and for CNG, it was 700 degrees Celsius. So when the studies were going on for the material which could move its range till 700 degrees Celsius, that took time. So that is why you see diesel engines were having turbocharge from very long back, whereas in the petrol engines you could see the turbocharge only in the recent few years, right? So now if this pressure regulator, if we talk about whether it should be 5 bar or 10 bar, will depend whether the CNG vehicle is having a turbocharger or not, supercharger, turbocharger or no. So with respect to that, the intake manifold of the air pressure will increase, and depending on that pressure, we will choose the reduction in the pressure of the CNG. Okay, so that is why we use the pressure regulator. So why primary and secondary? The reason is that 200 bar to 5 bar cannot be done by one regulator. It is impossible to reduce that much amount of the pressure. Because if you do that from higher pressure to lower pressure, there are chances that gas will get frozen, right? Because higher pressure to lower pressure is coming, so it will cool down. So we cannot have that. So that is why we do it from 200 bar to 50 bar, then 50 bar to 5 bar, where we use the secondary pressure regulator. Okay. Then we have the ECU and sensors. This was an old. This is like old. Now we have ECU and sensors for all. Okay, and solenoid metering valve and throttle body. So earlier in the intake manifold there was no throttle body. So to regulate the air, but now we have that throttle body in the CNG. Okay, wiring harness is needed because you need the ECU and sensors to work, and that signals will go to the ECU and to actuators and sensors via the wiring harness. Okay, we need to change the ignition coils for the petrol and spark plugs also. Those spark plugs and ignition coils were not there. will not work for the petrol one. Okay, so this has to be changed. So different injector will come as compared to the petrol. Okay, CNG cylinder will be there, CNG hose filter will be there. Okay, and vaporizer for LPG. So in case there is a LPG, so we need a vaporizer so that it vaporizes the LPG. Okay, now, so this is the fuel kit generation, how it improved from BS1 to BS5. So starting with the first thing was BS1. So it was Venturi. So Venturi was like in drops. Venturi will give the fuel to the engine cylinder. Okay, then there was a develop, but it is like a carburetor, you can say. BS1 and BS2 were like a kind of a carburetor. Okay, like in your BS4 bikes, two wheelers, we had a carburetor, or earlier models of Maruti like 1990s model or 2000 or not 2000 1990s model were having a carburetor system. These BS1 and BS2 worked on the similar. So if you can see, this is a carburetor. So they worked on the similar thing. Then in BS3 there was a throttle body injection, wherein the injection was done not into the combustion chamber but into the intake manifold and in the throttle body itself. So this is a throttle body which is having a butterfly valve. Okay, so once you press the accelerator, it will demand, or it will let the butterfly valve to open for depending upon how much accelerator is pressed. So 45%, 50%, 60%, and the maximum earlier at that time in BS3, the maximum opening of this butterfly valve was around 45 to 55%. Okay, so this will allow the air to go through this, and then it will control how much amount of air is going, and then the injection will happen according to the opening of this throttle body. So this way we improve the amount of fuel going to the engine. Reason, this is a controlled one. So here in gear gas valve or in Venturi, it was purely mechanical. Okay, but in BS3 it became little bit electronic, wherein we are getting the supply understanding from the throttle body valve about the air going into that, and based on that opening, we are calculating how much amount of fuel should go. Then in the BS4, we improved a much better, wherein we manifold injection, wherein we invented the injection into the manifold itself. So what happens is the fuel and air gets mixed into the manifold. Okay, and then that manifold air and fuel mixed will go to the engine and then get compressed and then happens. Okay, so why manifold is better than throttle body is because in throttle body you do not get much amount of space to get mixed with the air, but in manifold injection that mixture and turbulence we get, so that the fuel gets mixed with the manifold injection in a much better way, and the atomization of the fuel is good. So once it goes to the engine and gets combusted, at that time uh, the uniformity of the fuel is there, and spark will travel in a good direction, in a proper direction. So there is no delay, sorry, there is less delay in the ignition, then there is less chances of knocking. Okay, so and if there is a less chance of knocking, then the combustion is happening good, and you do not have much emissions. Okay, so now in the BS5 and BS6, not all the companies or not all the vehicles, I would say, are going for the direct injection. So direct injection, if you know, it works similar to like a diesel engine. So what happens in a petrol engine is that first air and fuel are getting mixed in the outside chamber, like intake manifold or throttle body, or before that, and then goes to the engine combustion chamber, then gets compressed all together, and then gets spark ignited, right? But in diesel engine, what happens is that air is traveling to the engine, getting compressed, and then fuel is getting, after the air is compressed into the chamber, then we are injecting the fuel. And with respect to the high pressure and temperature inside the combustion chamber, the diesel gets burnt, right? So, but in the direct injection of the CNG and LPG, same thing is happening in the CNG engine with respect to the diesel engine. That like air is getting compressed, and then injection for the CNG is happening. So if I say I don't know about any CNG vehicle as of now which is running on the direct injection, but if you talk to me about the gasoline engine, so of course that Ford EcoSport which we have, that petrol engine is a GDI. So wherever in cars or vehicles you see GDI, that means gasoline direct injection. Okay, so that vehicle or engine of Ford EcoSport is having a direct injection. So of course there are different benefits when we talk about it, like from Venturi to air gas valve to throttle body, manifold, and then direct injection. So, but of course, this took a lot of time. So, if you say then BS1 never came to India, I would say never came to India. Okay, so we started from the BS2 in 2002 or 2001. So, in that case, we started BS1 came like only in the government vehicles like DTC buses were changed to BS1 CNG type. Okay, then mainly retrofitment started over here. Then we moved over here to here. So you can see it took us almost 20-25 years to reach to BS5. Oh, sorry, BS6. So because we jumped BS5 basically, so that is why now we have achieved the BS6. Okay. So this is a kit layout of the CNG and LPG. So what happens is if I say like gas supply is here 200 bars, there is a pressure regulator over here which will reduce the pressure. Okay, and then it is going to a rail. Okay, this pressure and gas supply is going to the rail, and from this rail it is going to the different injectors. Okay, and then this from this injectors it is like having a sorry this is having a signal, injectors are having a signal. Okay, and this signal is also giving to the coils and spark plugs. Okay, and then this injection is happening, and once this injection is happening, sorry, let me repeat again. Okay, so what happens is these are the different sensors from where ECU is taking the signal. Okay, and these are the actuators. Coils and spark plugs are the actuators, and ECU is taking the signal from the throttle position sensor, airflow sensor, air temperature sensor, water temperature sensors, phase sensors, engine speed sensor, and lambda probe. So based on this, there are different logics in the electronic control unit which you can calibrate. Okay, depending on how much power, torque, or emissions are there, or how much fuel should be injected. So these are the input signals for the ECU, and this is the output signal. So based on these sensors values, whatever is the value XYZ for anything, they will calculate that how much opening and when coil or spark plug should work. Okay. Similarly, when should these gas injectors start working? So this gas supply is giving the signal, is giving the fuel to rail, and from rail it is going and traveling to the injector, and from injector it is getting injected into the engine cylinders. Okay, so nowadays what the main role is now move to the electronic control unit. Just a moment, guys. Give me a moment. Let me have some water. Okay, so now this all the calibration engineers which we hear about in the industry, what they do is that uh, they take up these signals and see that what is the best amount of fuel that should be injected during a particular engine running on the road, so that there is less emissions or the emissions are as per the BS6, and the power and torque are also being maintained. Okay, so this is just a very brief layout of the injection kit. So now what is the primary pressure regulator? So as I told you that it reduces the gas pressure from 200 bar to 10 bar, okay, for CNG, and for 10 bar to 4.5 bar for LPG, okay. And it is used for the carbureted or fuel injection type, anything, and it is having a metallic body with spring. So you can see over here how the pressure regulator looks like, okay. Then secondary pressure regulator, it is a single stage or integrated two stage design, and it reduces the gas pressure from 10 bar or 4.5 bar to below 1. Okay, and 1 bar for CNG and LPG carburation and 1 or 2 stages. It reduces the gas pressure from 10 to 20. Okay, okay. And this is how the pressure regulator looks like for the secondary pressure regulator. Okay, so this has a first stage, second stage, where it is used to reduce the 10 bar to almost 1 bar pressure where the injection happens. Okay, so this is a metering valve, is a solenoid valve which acts as the fuel metering device. Like how much fuel should enter, that will calculate like a fuel metering device. Okay, and in addition to acting as a non-return valve, also it is a non-return valve. Okay, so what happens? What is a non-return valve? Like gas can travel in any direction. Okay, it cannot have a single direction. So to reduce, to have it into in one direction where it will just inject into the particular area, we have a non-return valve. So the amount of fuel which has inserted into it with the help of the solenoid, so then that solenoid, that much amount of fuel will definitely get into injection. Okay. Now this is a gas air mixture. So gas air mixture facilitates the mixing of fuel with air, okay, to provide a homogeneous charge, as I told you, to the engine, and it consists of vanes for mixing gas and air. These are the injectors, okay, which can operate up to 4 to 5 bar pressure and can inject that much amount of fuel, that much pressure of fuel. Okay, and this is the kind of different ECUs which we work on: 16-bit, 32-bit, or 64-bit, kind of a microcontroller. Calibration are done, as I told you, by maps in forms of tables. Communicates with PC through data cable. So we have similar like a, USB cable where we connect one end to this ECU and one end to our laptop and start working on the software and calibrate it. Then this is a diagram of the wiring harness. Now it is very simple, which has become very complicated. Okay, and these are the different sensors if you talk about. Then starting with the intake air temperature sensor. So depending upon the air temperature, we should get the temperature of the air also, considering that only the amount of fuel will change getting injected. Okay, so this is a kind of a thermocouple which we use in the intake air, and then we have the manifold air pressure, so piezoelectric. This is a kind of a piezoelectric sensor. Then we have the exhaust gas oxygen sensor. This is the lambda sensor. What it does is that once all the combustions has happened and exhaust is getting taking place, then it calculates how much oxygen is there in that particular exhaust. So it should be around lambda should be equal to 1. So that means it is a lean stoichiometric burn. If lambda is greater than 1, that means it is a lean mixture. And if lambda is less than 1, that it means it is a rich mixture. Okay, so these are some industry terms which we use in day-to-day life when we are working in the industry about the engines and all. Okay, and this is the engine coolant temperature sensor also, throttle position sensor. Okay, so as I told you, butterfly valve is there. So based on that throttle position sensor, we will get to know how much amount of fuel is getting calculated. Then this crankshaft position sensor is needed to understand when engine has reached to a TDC position and when it is in the power mode. Okay, so basically in four-stroke engine, you will get engine TDC two times and engine BDC two times, right? So, but how would you know that engine TDC is the one which is a power stroke engine, or whether it is a exhaust stroke engine, right? So, based on that, this crankshaft position tells that okay, this is a TDC position of the power stroke, and now the injection or valve should open. Okay. Now this is a throttle body. As I told you, it is a butterfly valve which supplies fuel air mixture in varying amounts in response to load. Okay, so depending upon your load, the air fuel mixture will travel through it, and the throttle body can be electronically controlled by ECU. This is a electronic throttle body and is driven by wire. So earlier this throttle body also has developed from the mechanical. So earlier it was mechanical where it was driven by wire, but now it is electronic throttle body which we use generally. So we in industry we call it as ETB, electronic throttle body. So these are the different kind of just as an example, I have shown you the different spark and coil plugs which are used in the CNG and LPG. It is very small. If you see, just this much finger size, it is there. And what it does is the CNG LPG ignition coils are distributor less coils which provide high voltage for generating spark. Okay, these coils will generate spark, and the spark plugs provide the spark at the appropriate timing for the ignition of the CNG or LPG air mixture. And this is a cylinder for the CNG 200 bar, and this is one of the example of the LPG cylinder. Okay, so these are the hoses and filters. Like hoses are used to connect cylinder to cylinder primary pressure regulator. Okay, and low pressure hoses connect secondary regulator to the gas air mixture for the throttle body. So basically different kinds of hoses we use depending upon the pressure. So each hose has ISI marked over that this is for the 10 bar, 20 bar, 30 bar, 50 bar. So if we have to use the high pressure hose pipe, where we use it, where we use high pressure hose pipe is where we have to connect the cylinder to the primary pressure regulator, because there 200 bar to 10 bar should happen. Then for the low pressure hoses should be connected from the secondary regulator to the gas air mixture or throttle body, right? Because there 10 bar to 1 bar or 2 bar is happening. Okay, then CNG filter prevents debris. Debris means the dust from entering the engine. So that is the work of the CNG filter. Okay. Now moving on to your component testing. Maybe out of your interest probably, but okay, let me know. Okay. So generally, as I told you, that ARI is a regulatory body which does all the testing of your engines and all. Also, since we are working into very high pressure of 200 bar and all, each of these fuel kits should have some particularly standard things to pass and to be delivered to the market. So if you see like that, the different kinds of a test we do are hydrostatic strength test. So it is the pressurize the component 5 times the working pressure. That is 1000 bar to check the strength of the parts. So if a cylinder has to be filled to 200 bar, it is being pressurized deliberately to 1000 bar to see whether any uh, damage is happening to that or not. Okay. Then high temperature leakage test at 220 degrees Celsius or 85 degrees Celsius. So pressurize the component at 300 bar or till 120 degrees Celsius, and then we check the location of that component and check whether there is any leakage with respect to the high pressure or with high temperature. Okay, so low temperature leakage test is pressurize the component at 300 bar at minus 40 degrees Celsius to see if leakage is happening due to the less temperature also. Okay, then corrosion resistance test we do, and similarly we could do the continued corrosion resistance test is for 96 hours where we do the salt spray. So deliberately we put all the parts which are to be tested for the corrosion and put it into a spray chamber where we spray salt spray we do, so that to see after how much salt spray the corrosion is happening. Okay, then we do the continued operation test, right, like run for 50,000 cycles at different temperature and pressure. Like we call it as a durability test also nowadays.